Violence against children occurs in homes, schools, communities, and other places where children should feel safe. In recent times, the Nigerian media has reported an increased frequency of child defilement cases in various parts of the country. Stakeholders say tackling this issue requires the collective efforts of all citizens in order to actively protect the rights of children. With this in mind, the International Visitor Leadership Program (IVLP), an alumni association of the United States Consulate General Lagos, the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists B-Zone, and Ojo Local Government are determined to achieve a rape, child molestation, and domestic violence-free community by educating women and girls.
The first thing you should know, what is child sexual abuse? Child sexual abuse is any form of engagement of a child in sexual activity. It can be direct, like physically you touch a child, you penetrate through a child. And penetration does not have to do with the penis. It can be through with a stick or a blunt object. Touching a child's breast, all sorts of things, romancing a child. But it can be non-contactual. Pornography. We've handled cases with having children as young as 5 or 6 years who are addicted to sex, who are addicted to masturbation.
Well, at Chechera Foundation, we believe it's the responsibility of adults. Whether we're a mother, a father, a caregiver, a neighbor, a friend, or even a stranger passing by, it's the responsibility of adults to protect children from sexual abuse. Children, by their very nature and framework, cannot protect themselves. They are weak, they are young, they are vulnerable, and their brains are still developing. So it's the responsibility of adults. Under the Lagos State Child Protection Policy, everybody is a mandated reporter. Once you see something go wrong with a child, it's your responsibility to report. Otherwise, you'll be deemed to be an accomplice of that offense.
Honorable Rasulu Idowu, Chairman Ojo Local Government, pledged zero tolerance for such misconduct, adding that there would be continuous engagement with the traditional rulers, market women, artisans, and other groups on what domestic and sexual violence entails.
I want to say that our local government, in line with the Lagos State agenda to totally eradicate and put into fight grand extinction this malicious and barbaric act, pledge zero tolerance for such misconduct, actions, and attitudes. We have also engaged primary and secondary school students on the growing trend of rape culture in our schools. The workshop oversees an assessment of the fight against incidents of sexual assault in our primary and secondary schools by creating awareness and propagating rape prevention measures.
The role of everyone is to be alert and to speak up. Be alert so that when you see any foreign things you notice, you speak up, you speak out, you report. Do not be ashamed. Your story is your story. The secret of men is in their story. So you can't change your life or your story for another person's. But speak out. Do not be mute. Do not be quiet. Don't live with the guilt. It's not your fault. The sort of society that we have, culture, has been a major issue because we have a culture of the adult is always right. As a child, your rights are minimal. As a woman, your rights are minimal. And we see a lot of children see their mothers being sometimes molested, abused, and all that. And it's almost becoming a normal thing for the woman to be pretty and quiet, sitting pretty and never heard. So it's been a major challenge. The funniest thing is, even with some women, they believe that they don't understand their rights and they don't have much rights.
The complex part of what happens to the victim is that by the time the victim is traumatized, the victim can turn to drugs again in order to cushion the effects or they call it, we want to get away or we want to get out of the world. You see people that are so depressed, they turn to drugs. You see people who are traumatized, they turn to drugs. Drug is evil. So by the time we reach the society of substance abuse or drug abuse, we must have succeeded in dealing with most of these crimes. I want to also speak to parents. Parents, especially mothers, they say good character is like good soup. and it is usually homemade. Because one of the triggers of all these crimes is lack of moral values, which are characters. Youth, let me give you your takeaway. Ask yourself and answer this question by yourself. Are you an agent of change, or are you a tool of committing all these crimes? Answer that question on your own.
This is the kind of synergy we need to ensure that we preach the gospel of stop the rape of our girl child, stop violence against our women in the community. Reason is this: if we are not able to get to the community, it will be very difficult for us to speak at the larger society, because this issue is peculiar in the community. And if we can have a rape-free environment, obviously there will be less reportage of issue of rape, violence, and all of that. And of recent, the case has been, increasing. Honestly, we are saddened about the case. So that's why we're trying to ensure that this scourge is reduced to the barest minimum.
The chairman presented an award of excellence to IVLP, commending them for partnering with NAWOJ and the local government in ensuring children and women in the community are well educated and protected against sexual violence.